Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Legends video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at my build for the blue Zenkai Android 21. Now Android 21 is the earlier free-to-play version of the red Android 21, and her Zenkai actually came out quite a while ago, but I thought we could take a look and see just how well she holds up in the current meta. Now, of course, I don't expect her to do fantastically. She has, of course, aged as most units do in gacha games, and we'll see if there's some kind of usability for her. But yeah, overall, some of her strengths that she does have, she has pretty decent coverage with her Z ability, which is nice. She also actually has some really nice setup capabilities. So when she switches, she restores allies' ki. She also applies effects to them, so she's great at setting up Android 21s or Android 18 units. She covers cell units pretty nicely, and she can basically switch in and switch out to help set these guys up for some pretty big damage. She also, of course, has some debuffing that she does to the opposition, which is pretty helpful, and she'll also restore your team's health and give you some Dragon Balls if she is defeated in battle. So there is definitely some perks that she still brings which could be usable. I don't want to say that they're exceptional perks or anything, but I think they could definitely be usable abilities that could help you out in the long run. Now, one thing I will say is her damage reduction. I think the only damage reduction she has is the 20% from her main ability. So she doesn't have a lot of damage reduction, and that makes her very glass cannon. In the current meta, units I think are standard 40% damage reduction, like from the get-go, just to kind of help cope with the damage that like every single unit can do now. So for her to only have 20% and for it to be only available after a main ability, which is only available after 10 seconds, kind of limits her like quite substantially in the current meta. But like I said, her main attraction is going to be whether she can actually set up some of our other units. So I've got 2 units here that she can technically set up, and we're going to see if there's a way that we can get her to set up any of these units to do some pretty decent damage. And we're just going to take a look and see at what she brings to the table. Now, like I said, she has a pretty decent amount of utility, so that's always something that's going to be valuable. And it's not really bad in any way, shape or form to have good utility like this. It's, at least for me, something that I think is always helpful and will always help a lot of players. So here we go. You can see that she starts building up those stacks quite quickly. Obviously she can really reduce the opposition's health restoration, which is big. She can use their like abilities quite nicely. Her special skills also pretty good, giving us that additional ki recovery, giving us that additional blast damage, and just doing a lot for us. Now that we've switched in the other Android 21, who's been set up nicely with a very big ki boost with some damage buffs, we can see how much damage she can do. Obviously, like, full kind of disclaimer on her, definitely a blast unit, so those strike attacks were not at all remotely close to her full damage. But you can see how the whole setup situation works. You know, you switch in like your Android 21, maybe your green Android 21, maybe your red Android 21, 17 also could be decent, and you basically switch them in and they've been set up. They'll get ki, they'll get card art draw speed, they'll get plenty of tools that they can use to like control and just dish out a huge amount of damage, especially if you've got a unit that already does a high amount of damage. Being able to set them up with Android 21 is pretty good. And you can see, look at how all these debuffs are stacking on Android 17. Like, it's pretty good stuff, I want to say. So you can see, like, that whole reduction there. Her super attack, for those who don't know, is close range, but it can't be vanish step, so that is something that is good. Overall, I think she's really solid as a unit from a utility sense. I just think her lack of damage reduction, or like appropriate level of damage reduction in the current meta, is just not high enough. Like, she just doesn't have the raw like capabilities to handle the damage that units can dish out now. So for me, that's just a problem that she is always going to have. They can't re-Zenkai her unless they like rebalance her or something. And yeah, it is just not something that I would necessarily suggest. But she can still do some decent damage. She can still debuff the opposition. She can still set up your other teammates. She just doesn't necessarily, you know, have the endurance to like stay out there. That's not to say that, you know, she gets insta-deleted, but like a good green unit will probably just absolutely incinerate her. So it is just one of those things. Now, of course, I think as a unit, Android 21 is still a lot of fun. And if you got a strong team around her, she could just be a fun unit to throw in there to really just set up the rest of your team and kind of just annoy the opposition. She destroys special arts cards and ultimate moves with her ultimate move, which is pretty irritating, especially against some of these heavy Gogeta lineups where they end up with like 3 ultimate abilities. It's always pretty cool being able to destroy your opponent's cards and stop them from doing these whack, crazy 3 super ultimate skill turns. So, you know, it is something that I would say she could be a lot of fun with. I don't think she's a meta-defining hero in any way. Free-to-play units are very rarely meta-defining heroes, but I think I wouldn't even say she fits meta. Unlike Red Android 21, who I think can still be a yellow unit destroyer and can still do incredibly impressive damage, I think the blue Android 21 is just a bit too far out of depth. And although her utility is very cool, I don't think it's enough to like warrant running her on the team, let alone investing like all the Zenkai souls, investing all the equipment. And that's what my job is here for. It's to let you guys know that she's not worth the investment. She's not worth farming the equipment. She's not worth putting in the Zenkai souls. If you want her for PvE, then go for it. I think she'll be great in PvE. But if you want her for PvP, if you want her to help you climb the rankings, she's not going to be there. At least based on what I've seen so far. With that being said, honestly I would say that she's alright. Yeah, she's okay. She's interesting, she's a lot of fun, but yeah, just not enough in terms of like what else she gives. As you can see, I mean, you can see here, like, she's not completely dying or anything like that. She's got her tools, she's got her toolkits. You're gonna see me screw up her ultimate move because I always forget it's close range. Like, that's just one of those things. But look at how she debuffs the opposition. Like, look how those debuffs ramp up super duper quickly. And of course, I screwed up the ultimate skill, but hey. But yeah, you can see how quickly those debuffs ramp up, and I think that does help. Like, all those debuffs, the ability to just build those stacks. You can switch in like Red Android 21, and bam, she's just gonna incinerate someone with that many blast damage debuffs, and with her own debuffs, and with her own buff that she'll get switching in the card draw speed, the increased key, the increased damage, the increased debuffs to the opposition. Then all of a sudden she'll just insta-blow up someone, which is pretty impressive. So if you want to use Android 21 as a gimmick setup unit, or even just other 21s, I think that's fine. Like, for me at least, I think that's fine. You can see here just how much damage, like, Android 21 Red can do. She does real damage. Like she does real damage. So yeah, I think, yeah. And there you go. Also, by the way, the knockout effect, getting the heal on Android 21, getting the increased draw card speed, getting all those benefits for Android 21 is pretty huge. So that's pretty good stuff. And yeah, Android 21 with this kind of setup from blue Android 21 can do some pretty nutty damage. And that kind of nutty damage does honestly like do a lot of work. It's just that whether Android 21 herself can do enough work. So do you set up the red Android 21 to insta-clock or delete 2 units like I've just done, but you basically sacrificing a unit yourself in bringing blue Android 21? The risk with that is if your red Android 21 or your pseudo whichever replacement you're running for Android 21 gets eliminated, then you don't really have a lot left in your team to kind of take things on. So I would say that is probably where I'm at with blue Android 21. But I thought it'd be interesting to show you guys what she's like, or at least a build for her, for those who are interested. If you're just starting Legends, then feel free to grab her, and yeah, you'll probably get some decent rewards for her. But I think if you're someone at the top end of the spectrum or trying to climb the rankings, long term she's not the option. Maybe a stopgap for now. But that's it from me. See you next time. Bye.